ogres. When you think about ogres, what do you usually think of? You think of somebody who's kind of like mean and kind of rough and usually a bad guy, right? Well, I'm happy to tell you that this story actually paints ogres in a slightly better light. This is a very, very old folk tale. It comes from an old collection, the Violet Fairy Tale book. This is the story, Two in a Sack. Once upon a time, there was an old woman and an old man. And the old woman was not very kind to her husband. Almost every day, something like this would happen. "Old man, it's time for you to go and get us some food. Now go on, get, hi-ya, hi-ya, hi-ya." And she would hit him with the broom. "Oh, oh, oh." And he'd hurry out to the forest and scrounge around, sometimes with his nets. Well, on this particular evening, he spread out the nets and waited. It wasn't long before a pelican landed in the nets and managed to get itself tangled. "Oh, bother." The old man came out. "Oh, lucky for me and my wife, we're gonna eat your delicious bird body tonight." Yes, of course. Well, let me go and I can make it worth your while." "Well, I'm afraid, sir, that I don't want to let you go because my wife, she'll hit me with the broom." "I promise you that if you trust me, I'll take you back to my house and I'll give you something much more delicious than pelican meat. I promise." Okay, I'm gonna take a chance on you, bird." So the old man let the pelican out of the nets. The pelican took off flying, and the old man followed it all the way through the woods and to a very stately cottage, the kind of place you'd expect a human to live. Inside, the pelican took a large sack down off the wall, set it in the middle of the floor, and said, "Two out of the sack." And out of the sack sprung two boys in tuxedos. They pulled out a large oak table, covered it in a silken tablecloth, and then dish after dish after dish of the fanciest, richest feast foods you've ever seen, more than you eat on Thanksgiving and Christmas combined. Oh, the old man fed himself until he was stuffed, as did the pelican. Finally, the pelican said, "Two into the sack." And the boys came out and cleaned up all the leftovers and the tablecloth and disappeared back into the sack. "For your kindness, old man, take this to your wife." "Oh, wow, pelican, thank you so much." The old man set off on his way. As he was on his way through the woods, he encountered the home of his cousin. The cousin who's always bragging about everything. "Hello, cousin. I'm better than you. Hi. What do you have there? Some old laundry from clothes that don't fit so good? Probably." The old man was excited to finally have something to share that was way cooler than his cousin's. "No, actually, let me in and I'll show you." "All right, come on in." The old man set the sack down on the floor and said, "Two out of the sack." And out came the same two boys, who brought out the same large oak table, silken tablecloths, and another feast, more than you would have at St. Patrick's Day and Easter and the 4th of July combined. They ate until they could not eat anymore, the old man easily filling himself for a second time, and then said, "Two into the sack." And they cleaned up everything and disappeared back into the bag. The cousin knew that she wanted this for herself. So she finally said, cousin, maybe you'd love to take a little bath, huh? Freshen up for the road. What do you say? Oh, that sounds quite nice, thank you. I'll just be in the tub. And so while the old man was in the bathtub, the cousin switched the sacks for one that looked identical. The old man went on his way with the wrong sack, and when he got back near to his home, his old wife called out, "Old man, you've been gone an awful long time. You better get in here quick or I'm going to hit you with this broom." Don't worry, darling, I think you'll be very pleased today. All right, watch this. 2 out of the sack. Nothing's happening. 2 out of the sack! 2 out of the sack! Oh, that's it. You're dead meat. Hi-ya! 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 Oh, oh, oh! Well, the old man went running back out into the woods and knew he had to find his way back to the pelican. He searched and tried to remember exactly where it was, and finally got there. The pelican opened the door. "Oh, you again." "Yeah, Mr. Pelican, I'm so sorry, but my cousin switched my sack, and so now my wife is hitting me with the broom again." "Right. Well, may I suggest you take this sack first to your cousin and then to your wife. Allow them to, how shall we say, open it for themselves." "Okay, thank you, Mr. Pelican." And so the cousin set off again. This time his cousin saw him coming. "Oh, cousin, you have another sack, I see. 2 for 2, are we? Well, why don't you come on in? And maybe you're already so tired from the road, you just want to get in the bathtub right away." "As a matter of fact, I do. I'm going to do exactly that." Okay. So while the old man was in the bathtub, the cousin helped herself to the sack. 2 out of the sack. And out of the sack came 2 ogres who chased the cousin around the room, singing and chanting as they went. "Grievish pack, thievish pack, 1, 2. Give the old man back his sack, 1, 2. Oh, cousin, help me, help me. Grievish pack, thievish pack, 1, 2. Give the old man back his sack, 1, 2. Oh, cousin, can you please help? Can you please help?" The old man came out of the bathtub. 2 into the sack. And the ogres disappeared into the sack. "Oh, cousin, oh, forgive me. I guess I see now that perhaps I should have been a little more kind. Here, why don't you take both bags and just be on your way." "Thank you, I will." So the old man set off with both sacks. And as he got out near his house, he called out, "Old woman, come out and meet me." "Oh, you better get in here real quick. You've been gone an awful long time." "Don't worry, darling. I think you're going to be very pleased." All right, here goes. Oh, not that one. Okay. 2 out of the sack. And out of the sack leaped the 2 boys in their tuxedos. They got the table and the tablecloth, and they spread out again an exquisite feast, to the point where every single platter stretched all the way to the end of the table. There wasn't even room for flatware. The old woman ate her fill, and the old man did as well. And finally she said, "Well, husband, you done pretty good for once. Now go outside and build us a fire before I hit you again." So the old man said, all right, 2 into the sack. And the boys cleaned everything up and disappeared in again. Well, after the old man had gone outside, the old woman spotted the second sack. I wonder what's in there. Probably nothing good. Let's see. Yeah. 2 out of the sack. And out of the sack came the ogres, who came running after the old woman. Do not hit him with a broom, 1, 2, or we will chase you around the room. Oh, husband, do not hit him with a broom, 1, 2, or we will chase you around the room, 1, 2. Well, after they had taken the broom from the old woman and thwacked at her a few times, the old man came in. He loved his wife and couldn't bear to see her treated like this, even for all the times that he himself had been treated so poorly. He finally said, 2 into the sack, and the ogres returned into the sack. Oh, my husband, I do now see, thanks to the ogres, that hitting you with the broom must not feel all that nice. I promise I will never lay another hand or broom on you ever again. And I'm happy to say that in this story, the ogres helped the people learn valuable lessons that allowed them to live happily ever after.